Welcome back. North Korea is suspending talks with South Korea over U.S. planned military exercises. What exactly does this mean for President Donald Trump's meeting in June? To update us with this and everything that's happening in the world of politics as we possibly can get in this segment, we welcome now Lee Bynes. And Lee, good to have you.
Busy week. Let's do it.
Yeah, what does it mean actually here between North Korea, South Korea now, and the president's upcoming June meeting?
Well, you know what? This situation reminds me of a statement that G. Gordon Liddy made. He was a former Nixon aide, saying that if brains was dynamite, Donald Trump wouldn't have enough to blow his nose, because he's literally being played like a Stradivarius. He painted himself into a corner by misinforming the nation or misunderstanding what North Korea's, the signals they've been sending out recently. If you go back and look at the actual statements that the North Koreans have been sending, they indicated that they were going to dismantle a nuclear testing site. Well, that nuclear testing site could be dismantled simply because of the fact that they are where they want to be. They wouldn't be launching any more missiles or testing any more missiles because they already have the capability and they're satisfied with that. Donald Trump has been using these issues to be able to say that, look, I'm ready for a Nobel Peace Prize. Absolutely ridiculous. The North Koreans now at this late hour decided to say that if you go ahead with these planned military exercises, we don't see any need to meet with you going forward on the 12th. Now that exposes the Trump administration to the fact that they seem to need this meeting more than North Korea does. They've been saying over the last couple of weeks that it's been the sanctions, it's been maximum pressure on them that brought them to the table. That is not anywhere near the truth. They've been using these statements and all of this bellicose language to impress their base, show U.S. strength, but it also brings me to another story where so-called maximum pressure or these crippling economic sanctions that they tried to use against Iran, saying that that's what brought them to the table.
Right, and so we talk about President Trump leading the Iran deal, and people are saying this is a deal that has a lot of holes in it.
Well, yes and no, but it was the best deal that was possible at the time because the Iranians were literally negotiating from a position of strength themselves. They knew that if they were able to get a deal, international deal with more than just the United States, this is not a bilateral situation. This is an international with agreement with the UN Security Council +1, the Germans and everybody else. So once that deal was made, they should have been locked in. What essentially happened when the United States pulled out and told the Iranians that we're going to place sanctions on you again, well, those sanctions are now going to extend to the Europeans if they continue to deal with them. That places the Europeans in an awkward position because they are obligated to protect their own business interests. Boeing here in the United States is going to leave tens of billions of dollars on the table if Donald Trump continues down this line, simply because of the fact that they had a deal to refurbish the Iranian commercial jet liners. If this deal falls apart and they don't have an opportunity to do that, there's going to be a ton of money left.
I want to talk about some other news as well. If we talk about John McCain, U.S. Senator, has been in the news lately, and the comments that have been made with the president and President talking about the funeral out of the White House, whether or not actually the president can actually attend the funeral. We've heard from Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We've heard people who talked about what difference does it make, he's dying anyway. A lot of insensitivity from the part of, here you have a decorated American hero who served in the United States, not just in government, but in wartime. And yet it's still these comments and the conversation that's going on in Washington, D.C., a lot has been talked about the tenor and the tone that's coming out of the White House and how this is a tenor and tone that has been unparalleled in American history. Agree, disagree?
Absolutely agree, but Donald Trump has been a crass individual in his presentation.
We're not talking to the president. You're talking about his staff.
Well, that's what I mean. But it starts at the top. It starts at the top. And this story only has legs for as long as it has, simply because of that fact that they refuse to just simply issue an apology. It takes a big man to admit his or her, or woman to admit their mistakes. And the reason why is because when you admit your mistakes, or if you make an apology, the other apology comes with consequences and liabilities. If you have crossed the line, and a statement like that towards a war hero, somebody who not only suffered torture while he was over there, but when it was his opportunity to leave, he stayed longer than he had to and let people who had been there longer than he was there, leave first. So when you have a character and like that, someone with principles, the least, when he's in his darkest hour, the least that you could do is treat him like the man he is, the hero he is, and show him his proper respect. His wife had to come to the fore and remind these folks that he has a family, and they're listening to these crass comments. And but at this point of the game, any apology that has to be demanded, even if they issued it at this late stage of the game, it's literally worthless.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things have been said about the president in terms of apology. We know that there was the hero of the young man who saved people in the Waffle House during that shooting. The president's made a phone call recently. People say that's too little, too late. A lot has been said about the compassion, because in order to be the president of the United States, you also have to be the lead person in terms of compassion. And some people feel as though that this is not going to be a compassionate president when it comes to issues and matters of the heart.
Well, compassion and empathy for others is not words that one would use in the same sentence with Donald Trump, his administration, his policies, or anything of the like. This is who we have that's in the White House and that we're forced to accept for the time being. But I think that if the Democrats play their cards right, there may be some opportunities down the line to change this situation.
Which lead me to my next question about the ripple effect. How much of a ripple effect do we think we're going to see during these midterm elections? Do we see Democrats gaining more seats?
Yes and no. And I would like to comment on that a little bit further, but I would consider that to be paid content, if you will. So I won't want to share that at this point. But if the Democrats don't get its act together in terms of pulling their people together, because we have the corporate Democrats versus the grassroots progressives, and to be honest with you, there has been a lot of women running for office on the Democratic side. But I've been doing a little digging below the surface, and I've come to understand that a lot of the Democrats have been playing what they would call politics by way of breaking things down by gender, race, etc. If you go back and understand one of the reasons why Barack Obama was so successful, because his tagline was, "We can." What is his term? We could
change.
Yeah, no, not change, but he spoke of we. He was very, very inclusive. When Hillary ran her campaign, her tagline was "I'm with her." And so if you take a feminist position and take it a little too far and don't answer the concerns of a lot of males that you want to bring to the polls, if a lot of the female or women candidates that are out there right now, if they would come out and hold town hall meetings and include men in the process and answer some of their concerns, I think that they would have a better chance of pulling this off. Will they win some seats? Yes, but I'm not sure that they can win enough unless they are able to motivate the entire base instead of just, speak to half of it.
Yeah, because people are asking the question whether or not the Democrats can gain any stronghold between the House and the Senate, and knowing what's going on there with the Republican controlling both the House and the Senate. You're saying they'll pick up some seats, but they probably won't.
Well, they will be successful and pick up some seats, but will it be enough to make a difference? Because we've been looking at the numbers up until now, and that tremendous lead that the Democrats had about 3, 4, 5 months ago has shrunk significantly. Now, it's not necessarily well, we don't know, but I sincerely believe is that a lot of people are looking down the road and they're thinking, well, you know what, the Democrats haven't really been out there offering us much of a change. They've been almost voiceless. They actually voted for a bill this year that that pretty much gave the House away in terms of the amount of money that they voted for the Defense Department. We're talking about $750 billion this year alone. A lot of that, we think that a lot of that money could have been, they could have held the line on that and gotten a lot more for the social services. They fought harder for health care and got a lot more out of it than to just roll over and simply just let that get done.
Yes, a few months away, so definitely we'll be seeing. September is right around the corner. We'll get some good answers then, and then also in November to see how things roll out with the elections.
Well, absolutely. But one more point I'd like to make, if we have a second to do so. In October is when the bills are going to come out to let people know exactly where they are in terms of how much it's going to cost to provide health care for them. That would be the one thing that the Democrats have in their favor, because the Republicans have not they repealed Obamacare, but they didn't replace it yet.
All right. Lee Bonds, that's why we bring him in. Our political analyst. He brings us the news every week here on Open. Taking a quick break. We've got more shows. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.